The anime begins with Mei, a 16-year-old girl who has no friends, since she was falsely accused of letting the class pet rabbit go many years ago, which caused her to be a lonely and quiet girl. One day, she bumps into Kenji, Yamato's best friend, the most popular and friendly boy in school. Kenji says that he has never heard Mei speak, and that seems interesting to Yamato. Later, Kenji annoys the girls at the stairs because of the length of their skirts, and when he notices that Mei is wearing a longer skirt than normal, he pulls it off, which makes Mei so angry that she kicks in the boy who is bothering her, but she thinks it was Yamato, and after falling down the stairs, Yamato laughs, even more interested in her. After school, Mei finds aggressive notes from Yamato's fan club, demanding that she apologize to Yamato because he is innocent. At that moment, Yamato arrives and apologizes for the attitude of his friend, and when she sees his hand hurt by her kick, she also apologizes to him. Then he confesses that he finds her interesting, but she thinks he's making fun of her and leaves. Yamato does not give up and chases her to ask her to exchange phone numbers, but she does not want to, so he gives her his number written down on a piece of paper, and she in return, gives him a bandage for the wound on his hand. After that, she goes to the bakery, where she works and runs into a creepy customer. The next day, Yamato chases her around the school, asking her why she didn't call them last night, and she says that she doesn't have friends because she doesn't trust anyone, and shows him that her only two contacts on her phone are her mom and the bakery. For Mei, people always betray others in the end, and although he says that not everyone is like that, that conviction is deep in Mei's heart. Yamato is left speechless when Mei tells him that she doesn't want friends, and later, he agrees to go out singing karaoke with Kenji and Asami. At night, after leaving the bakery, Mei notices that the creepy guy from yesterday is following her, and she runs to hide in a convenience store, and tries to call her mom, but she doesn't answer. Then Mei remembers Yamato and calls him, desperately asking for help, and although he was in the karaoke room having fun with his friends, he runs to the convenience store to save her. She tells him the situation, and he realizes that the guy waiting for Mei outside is a stalker, so he puts his arm on her shoulder, and pretends to be her boyfriend. They leave the convenience store, and Yamato tells her that he loves her, and kisses her in front of the stalker. This makes the guy so angry that he leaves indignant, and Mei can't stop looking at Yamato, blushing, unable to believe that she has had her first kiss. After the kiss, Yamato gives her a popsicle, and she thanks him for coming to her, even though she thought he wouldn't, and from that moment on, Mei decides to trust Yamato just a little bit, and he decides to take her to the karaoke room to relax a little. Although, she soon becomes overwhelmed and runs away. As the days go by, Yamato doesn't stop to say hello, and to look for Mei everywhere, and she can't stop thinking about their kiss. In class, Asami approaches her to show her something cute, but they are soon bothered by Kenji, who loves to bother Asami. Then they go to the bathroom together, and Asami asks her if she has already kissed Yamato, and Mei stammers and confirms it, and Asami says that she has kissed him too. At that moment, some mean girls come in, and call Asami Watermelon Girl, but Asami just smiles and leaves. After school, Asami and Mei go to eat something, and Asami tells her that she has always been picked on for the size of her breasts, and once in middle school, Yatomo defended her from some boys, and they became friends. Mei asks her if she likes Yamato, and Asami says that she liked him before, and even asked him for a kiss, and he kissed her without further ado, which showed Asami that he had no feelings for her, and not only that, Asami tells her that rumor says that Yamato has kissed all the cute girls at school, except Aria, his first love. At night, Yamato calls Mei on his cell phone, and invites her to go to karaoke tomorrow, and she asks him if Aria will go, and when he confirms it, she tells him that she knows about the rumor that he has kissed all the girls except his first love, Aria, and he tells her that those are crazy rumors, but Aria's part is true, so Mei says that she won't go to the karaoke. The next day, Mei watches Yamato interact with Aria, and thinks that he hasn't kissed her yet because he respects her. After that, she goes to the bathroom, and listens to how the mean girls from yesterday talk ill about Asami, and she calls them out, which earns her a slap and scratches from them. When Yamato sees her, she lies to him that she fell, and he puts a bandage on her cheek, worried about her. At that moment, Asami sees her, and decides to take her to the infirmary to put ice on her. Later in PE class, Kenji gets hit in the face by a ball, and goes to the infirmary, and listens to how the mean girls make fun of Asami, and he angrily comes in to defend her, and says that big melons are the best, because it means that she has great aspirations in her heart, but at that moment, Kenji's nose starts bleeding, and they think it's because he was talking about breasts. Asami runs away, embarrassed, and Kenji and Mei run after her. Mei tells Kenji that she noticed that he has special feelings for Asami, and he should be the one to talk to her. That encourages Kenji, and he runs to look for Asami. He confesses that he loves her, and obviously, he likes her big breasts, but he also likes her smile, and the way she is, and every time he sees her, he's happy. Later, Asami tells Mei that she is now dating Kenji, and thanks her, which leaves her thinking about Yamato. At night, Yamato is at karaoke with his friends, and Aria wants him to kiss her, since he has kissed many girls and even Mei, an insignificant girl that bothers Yamato, but he doesn't show it. Later, he leaves karaoke, and finds Mei, who was spying on him from an alley to see if he was leaving with Aria. That makes him happy, and he kisses her again, making Mei cry. She tells him that a kiss without feelings hurts, so Yamato gets serious, and kisses her repeatedly, to greet her for being cute, for being the girl with whom he wants to go further, and for being the girl he has feelings for. Finally, he asks her if she loves him, and warns her that if she doesn't answer him, he will give her a real kiss, and she starts to tear up and confesses that her heart hurts every time she thinks about him, and he takes it like as a love confession, and kisses her seriously. Days later, Yamato finds Mei covering a box with a cloth to protect a stray kitten from the coming rain, and notices that her hair is frizzy, and she says she has to cut it soon, and he jumps at the chance to invite himself to go with her. In the afternoon, Yamato insists that this is their first date, and they have to hang out first before going to the hair salon, and for the first time, Mei realizes how handsome Yamato is, as make girls try to flirt with him, and she feels self-conscious, so he takes her hand and says that she is his girlfriend, and they should act more like a couple. Mei feels comforted by holding his hand, until they run into Aiko and Masashi, Yamato's friends, who insist to go bowling with them. Aiko doesn't understand what Yamato saw in Mei, since she looks so simple, and he seems very enthusiastic about her, especially when Mei demonstrates her bowling ability. Then, Aiko takes Mei somewhere else to talk to her alone, and asks her if this a date, and Mei is honest saying that she just wanted to cut her hair, and he invited himself, and that bothers Aiko, who asks Mei if she loves Yamato, and she only answers maybe. That makes Aiko even more angry, and she complains that many girls want to go out with Yamato, for example her, who was already made love with him, so Mei decides to go home, and Aiko tries to convince Yamato to stay with them, but he runs off after Mei, and can't find her, and on top of that, it's about to rain. Meanwhile, Aiko remembers how she met Yamato in middle school. She put on so much makeup to please her boyfriend, that she ended up ruining her face. And although Yamato saw her face without makeup, he says that she was pretty just the way she was. But the makeup wasn't enough for Aiko's boyfriend, and he ended up cheating on her. So when Aiko discovered it, and she thought she was the ugliest girl in the world, and sought Saul's and Yamato, and took advantage of his kindness by asking him to sleep with her to prove that she was worth it. After that, Aiko went on an extreme diet and lost almost 20 kilograms to make Yamato like her even more, although that was not necessary. On the other hand, Yamato continues looking for Mei, and decides to go look for her at the schoolyard, where she keeps the little kitten, and he was right. She was there taking care of the little cat. He wants to know what Aiko told her, but she says that Aiko is right, she's not good enough to be with someone like him, and he decides to take her to his former middle school. Yamato tells her that his classroom was full of bullies and gang members, so he used to mix with them like a chameleon to avoid being attacked, but one day, his best friend became their target, and Yamato also pushed him aside, only talking to him secretly, until his friend transferred schools, and he still hasn't forgiven himself for that. To Yamato, she is too good for someone like him, someone who is worthless, and he thinks he does the same thing in high school, living through others, and she says that he has many friends, but Yamato thinks that they are only with him for his looks, and Mei tells him that he should trust his friends more, and that makes him laugh, because of the irony since she is the one who says it. Then he confesses that he fell in love with her when she kicked him, and she says that makes him seem more human, and they kiss under a clear sky, and Mei can't stop thinking that Yamato is like her. He has scars that wants to hide. The next day, Yamato gives Mei a couple's bracelet as proof of his love, which does not go unnoticed by many classmates, who now even see her cute because she smiles more often. This is also noticed by Kakeru, a playboy who sleeps with several girls at the same time to feel as popular as Yamato. Kakeru goes looking for Yamato, and asks to meet his girlfriend, and Yamato, a little confused, accepts the proposal. Then he goes in search of Mei, who's in a hurry because a teacher tried to confiscate her bracelet and she ran away. He is just happy that she treasures his gift so much and kisses her hand. Yamato tells her about going out with Kakeru, and says that it would be good for her to make friends through him, so she accepts too. In the afternoon, Kakeru tells Aiko about his outing with Mayu and Yamato, which leaves her devising plans to have Yamato back, since when she begged him to sleep with her, she thought they were going to be a couple, not a one-night thing. On the weekend, Kakeru tells Mei and Yamato that he will pay for lunch, and tries to make small talk with Mei, which is a little difficult because she has a hard time talking to strangers, but Yamato assures her that he's a good guy, and she agrees to save his phone number. Suddenly, Yamato receives a call, and Kakeru insidiously tells Mei that it's probably a girl, but she doesn't seem worried, so Kakeru starts offering himself as a bed friend with who can sleep whenever she wants, and that shocks her, and she eliminates his contact in his face, and pays for her lunch and leaves. When Yamato returns, he sees that Mei is gone, and runs off to look for her, but Kakeru follows him, and says that Mei is just another girl, and he can look for another one whenever he wants, and Kakeru could take her. That angers Yato and he punches him in the face, yelling that Mei is his, and she wouldn't date someone like him. The next day at school, Mei avoids Yamato while he looks for her, so she prefers to spend time in the old school building, where she overhears a conversation. Meanwhile, Kakeru tells Aiko what happened, and she admits that she would never have imagined Yamato angry, and he accuses her of taking Yamato's side, but she makes fun of him saying that Yamato is different, and that's why girls will always prefer him. That makes Kakeru angry, and he venomously says that Yamato would never sleep with her again if he saw the scar she has on her stomach for her dieting. All this is heard by Mei, who angrily comes out from her hiding place and mocks Kakeru, by telling Aiko that he chews loudly while he eats, and it is disgusting to watch. Kakeru gets enraged and pushes her before giving into his anger. Mei tells Aiko that she admires her since she was able to change drastically to feel better, while she tried to get away from everyone without changing, but since she is with Yamato, she feels more human, and her feelings for him are more deep, and does not plan to lose to her. That makes Aiko smile genuinely, who confesses that Yamato rejected her a long time ago and leaves. Later, Mei goes to look for Yamato, and finds him playing with a stray kitten. He apologizes for making her meet Kakeru, and she realizes that his hand is bandaged from the punch he gave Kakeru. Then she asks him if he slept with Aiko, and he answers honestly that it is true, but it was something he couldn't help because Aiko was going crazy. But he swears that he won't sleep with anyone else from now on, only with her, and she blushes so much that she shoals him, and accidentally hits his injured hand. Then she kisses his hand, and promises herself to treasure these emotions since this scar was made for her. Days later, Yamato finds Mei looking sad because she has found an abandoned baby cat and she can't adopt it because already has a cat, so Yamato decides to adopt it, and name it Kuro. As the days go by, Yamato becomes more fond of his kitten, and doesn't stop taking photos of it to show it to others. One afternoon, he asks Mei to come to his house the next day with Marshmallow, her cat. The next day, she feels a little nervous since she has never been in a boy's room, but she convinces herself that the invitation was for Marshmallow, not her. When Mei arrives at Yamato's house, she is greeted enthusiastically by her boyfriend, but not so much by Nagi, his little sister. After the awkward introductions, Yamato takes Mei to his room and hugs her, which makes her nervous, and he says that he won't do anything that she doesn't want, and sits on the couch, but she trips and falls on his lap, and he wastes no opportunity to hug her again, and asks her to call him by his first name, but that is difficult for her, so he says that he will settle for her saying that she loves him. Suddenly, Nagi enters with the tea and pastries, and is shocked to see them together and hugging, and accuses Mei of assaulting her brother. This angers Yamato and he asks Nagi to apologize, but Nagi refuses and throws her paint plush rabbit at him, and she leaves the room. Yamato tells Mei that Nagi used to be a kind girl, but everything changed a few months ago. She stopped going to school, and even her friends stopped coming to visit her, so he gave her the pink plush rabbit to cheer her up. What Yamato doesn't know is that Nagi realized that her classmates only went to her house to eat her pastries and hang out there, but without even talking to her, and that's why she decided to not have friend. While they are having tea, Mei is surprised by how delicious Nagi's pastries taste, and Yamato tells her that she's very skilled at baking and many other things. Suddenly, he receives an urgent call from Kenji, asking for his help, and unfortunately, Yamato has to go, and ask Mei to take care of Marshmallow and Kuro, but Mei decides to go talk to Nagi, and brings her the pink plush rabbit, and tells her how delicious her pastries tasted, and Nagi shows her room, which she decorated herself with many plush animals she made. Mei tells Nagi that she didn't have friends and prefer to be alone because friends only betray you in the end, and Nagi tears up agreeing with her. But Mei met Yamato and he taught her that it is good to trust people and make friends, because they are the ones who teach you to grow and share your pain, and she is sure that one day, Nagi will find someone who shares her hobbies and interests, which gives hope to the little girl. Suddenly, Mei remembers that she left Kuro and Marshmallow alone, and she runs to Yamato's room, but she finds them sleeping peacefully together. Then Nagi gives Mei a plush bear as a gift and gratitude for understanding her, and they both fall asleep on the couch, waiting for Yamato. And when he returns, he doesn't understand what happened between them, but silently thanks Mei. Over time, Nagi and Mei become great friends, and exchange cell phone numbers. Mei wants to learn how to bake something, so one day, Nagi sends her an easy recipe for cookies, and warns her that she has to do it right because she knows they are for Yamato. On the way home, Yamato is happy because things between Kenji and Asami are going well, and they radiate happiness. Mei is also happy for them, and while Yamato hugs her, he asks her to call him by her first name, but she still can't do it, and he says that he will soon get her to say his name. At night, Mei tries to make cookies, but she is very clumsy, causing her mother to laugh. The next day, a famous amateur model transfers to school, and catches everyone's attention because of her beauty. She is Megumi, and Kenji can't believe that Yamato isn't interested. At the end of school, Yamato finds Megumi waiting for him. She says she wants to be with him, and it doesn't matter if he has a girlfriend. She has no problem sharing, and that leaves Yamato speechless, and he politely tells her that he's not interested in girls shallow like her, and leaves with Mei. The next day, Megumi apologizes profusely to Yamato, and says that she just wants to be his friend, which makes Kenji and Asami curious. On the way home, Yamato is worried because Mei hasn't asked him about Megumi, but reassures her that nothing happened with her even though he would like her to ask him. The next day, Megumi tries to spend as much time as possible with Yamato, and that arouses admiration in the students, who think that they make a nice couple of models, so Megumi tells him that her agency is looking for a male model, but he rejects the offer, because he's not interested, but she begs him so much that he agrees just for time. At night, Mei continues baking cookies, and she has finally managed to make them now hard as a rock, but they taste like nothing, and she remembers that Nagi advised her to put her heart into following the recipe, and yet, even Marshmallow the cat is repelled by her cookies. The next day Megumi tells everyone that Yamato accepted her offer to be a model for once, and invites Mei, Asami, and Kenji to go see the photo shoot. Megumi also tells Yamato that her agency wants to talk to him today after school, but he says that he has to walk Mei home, although Mei says that she can go alone. She is sad but doesn't show it. As she walks home, her steps are melancholic since she hasn't walked alone in a long time. The next day, she attends Yamato and Megumi's photo session. He is nervous, but relieved when he sees his girlfriend. The photo session begins, and Yamato doesn't know how to pose since the topic is a love date, so Megumi takes his hand, and asks him to imagine that she is the girl he loves. Then he begins to pose with Megumi, and the photographers praise them saying that they look like a couple in love, and are made for each other. Every compliment to the couple is a blow to Mei's heart. She begins to feel anxious and inferior. For her, Yamato is too bright, and she is just Mei, and without realizing it, a tear slides down her cheek. Sometime later, the magazine in which Megumi and Yamato appear goes on sale, and is a success due to their great chemistry. Although, Yamato only cares about Mei's opinion, and she tells him that they are perfect photos. Days later, Megumi tells Yamato that agency wants to hire him as an official model, since they like the photo shoot a lot, and although he is not interested, he asks Mei for her opinion, and she honestly says that he should accept because it's a good job for attractive people like him. The problem is that the modeling schedule is tough, and Yamato has to spend less time with Mei, and more time with Megumi. Even so, he looks for her even if it's just to have lunch with her, and takes her to the roof to spend time alone. There, he sees that she has a special bag, and tries to take one cookie, but she takes it from him, and tells him that Nagi is teaching her how to bake, and those cookies are still not appropriate, and he asks her to bake something for him one day. The next day, Yamato and Megumi have another photo session, and Yamato promises to text Mei, which makes Mei wait for his message all day, but when the session ends, Megumi invites Yamato to her apartment for lunch, since she has plenty of food and lives alone. She tells him that she takes care of her calories and tries to save as much as possible, because the life of an amateur model is not easy, so she cooks her own food, and that's why she always has plenty, so she invites him to dinner with her every time they has a photo session in the afternoon. When he returns home, he texts Mei, and she is happy but sad. Time passes, and the same routine repeats itself. Megumi and Yamato spend more and more time together, and even their friends notice Yamato's distance. One day, Mei overhears some girls talking about Megumi and Yamato, saying that she has seen Yamato leaving Megumi's apartment at night. Mei freezes and starts crying. At that moment, Asami and Aiko see her crying, and Mei assures them that nothing is wrong, and that makes Aiko angry because Asami is worried. So Mei can't stand it anymore and hugs Asami crying, and tells them everything that has been happening to her. She tried to pretend that she didn't mind the time Megumi and Yamato spent together, but now that she knows that he goes to Megumi's apartment at night, she doesn't know what to think anymore. She wants to trust him, but now she can't. But then, Asami and Aiko give her their point of view. Asami says that it is normal to feel insecure even if sometimes nothing is happening, while Aiko says that she has already lost count of all the time she's been cheated on. Aiko tells her that if she loves a person and has now hit a wall, she should break it herself, and hide, and advises her to show Yamato that she loves him, and after that, she can hide again. That encourages Mei and she makes a decision. She goes in search of Yamato, and kisses him in the hallways. After the kiss, Yamato sees that Mei is crying, and tells her to walk home together. He takes her hand, but Mei can't stop thinking that he's only walking with her because she kissed him. They stop at the park, and he tells her about Kuro, but Mayu is quiet, and wants to ask him why he goes to Megumi's apartment at night. Seeing her so quiet, he takes her hand, and tells her that he would like her to surprise him again, but Mei harshly tells him that she is not that type of girl, which surprises Yamato. He lets go of her hand, and says that's not what he meant, and leaves. The next day, Mei has dark circles under her eyes, because she spent the whole night thinking that she has to apologize to Yamato. So Asami gives her a special keychain in a cat theme park, and tells her that Kenji gave the other one to Yamato because they are a couple keychains, and that gives her the idea to invite him to go to that theme park. So she was looking for him, but instead, she listens to some girls talking about Megumi's new interview, in which she said that she is in love with a model who is as beautiful as Prince Charming, and everyone assumes that she is talking about Yamato, and those girls agree that Yamato and Megumi would make a better couple. This hurts Mei, who decides to go home early, and Asami worries about her, but Aiko thinks that Mei needs time alone because she's fighting with herself. Asami assumes that Mei is sad about Megumi's interview, and Aiko says that when Mei needs them, they will be there for her. Then Aiko speaks alone with Yamato, and shows him Megumi's interview, where she talks about the dinners they have at night, and how she's in love with him. Yamato says that nothing has happened between them, but Aiko asks him to put himself in Mei's shoes. The whole school knows that they spend time at Megumi's apartment at night, and now the model talks about loving him. Surely he would be angry with Mei if she secretly saw a male model at night without telling him. And finally, she advised him to clear up this misunderstanding before things get worse, so he runs off to look for her at her house since she doesn't answer his calls. While he runs, Megumi calls him because they have a photo shoot today, and he tells her that he won't go and he will call the agency later, and that makes Megumi deeply angry. Yamato arrives at Mei's house, and her mother tells him that she hasn't arrived yet. Meanwhile at the bakery, Mei runs into an unusual customer. When the boy sees her Mayako Land keychain, he goes crazy, and asks her to give it to him. He a big fan of Mayako Land, and it's the limited edition keychain, but she refuses. Before leaving, the boy says that he is Kai, and will soon transfer to Mei's school. Later on the way home, Mei wonders if Yamato put his couple's keychain on his phone like she did, and she can't help but cry, and melancholy thinks that since she realized that she loves him, she started to suffer. She tries to wipe her tears with her wrists, and her love bracelet breaks, scattering everywhere. Suddenly, Yamato comes running, and finds her crying. She says that she is tired of this. She fell in love with him, and could only think about him, and tried to support him in his modeling career, and not think badly of Megumi's intentions, and she doesn't like feeling like that, and he apologizes saying that she hasn't changed, and he was the careless one in their relationship, and he swears that nothing has happened between him and Megumi. At that moment, he sees the broken love bracelet on the ground, and starts crying while gathering the beads, and Mei also bends down to pick them up crying, so he hugs her crying even more, and Mei can't help but think that they are both amateurs in love. The next day, Yamato tells Megumi that he will stop modeling because he prefers to take care of Mei's heart, and she can't believe that he prefers Mei over working with her, but Yamato was never interested in modeling anyway. He only did it because Mei liked the photos. After class, Yamato walks Mei to the bakery, happy that she was able to fix the love bracelet, and she says that when she's alone, she thinks that the bracelet is him, and feels a company, which makes him happier. At the bakery, they have to separate, but Yamato makes up the excuse that he has to go shopping, and he can't wait for her to get off work, and that makes Mai happy. Hours later, Yamato buys a gift for Mai, while he counts down the minutes until he sees her. Meanwhile at the bakery, Kai appears again, and asks Mai to give him the keychain, but she refuses, and he tells her that the keychain is enchanted. She must tie a wish with a yellow ribbon to the ring of the keychain, and ask for something, and if she has a boyfriend, that love will last forever, which makes her blush, and he tells her that she is very pretty, and it is obvious that she has a boyfriend. When leaving work, Mai sees that it is raining, and Yamato appears with an umbrella. She apologizes for making him wait, and he says that it is only fair because she always waited for him when he modeled. They walk under the umbrella, and although they have a lot to talk, they prefer to walk in comfortable silence. They soon arrive at Mai's house, and she offers him to come into the house to use the dryer since his clothes got wet. They enter her room, and Mai can't stop blushing because he isn't wearing her shirt, and he also blushes and gives her a gift, a couple's rings. Then they hug, and she tells him that she likes his smell, which baffles Yamato, so she lies down, and he climbs on top of her, ready to take another step in their relationship. But they are interrupted by Mai's mother who just arrives, so Mai quickly climbs into bed, and pretends she was sleeping. After that, the three of them drink tea, and although Yamato is blushing, he says that he respects Mai, and lists all the qualities of Mai for which he fell in love with her, which makes Mai's mom very happy. The days pass, and Mai and Yamato's relationship strengthens even more. They spend a lot of time together, and the friendship between Yamato and Mei's friends also grows, and she is grateful to have met him. Meanwhile, Megumi doesn't stop watching them, even though they haven't spoken in a long time, which is noticed by her friend Momo. One day, Kai finally shows up at school, and sees Mai spending time with Yamato and his friends, and sees that he has a couple's keychain just like Mai's. Later, on the way to the bakery, Yamato tells her that Kai was his best friend in middle school, the same one he told her about, and she tells him that Kai is a regular customer at the bakery, which baffles him. While Mai works, Kai goes into buying the usual stuff, and she says that she already knows who he is, and he says that he has come back to get revenge on his bullies, that's why he became stronger, even though it took him a year. But Mai tells him that revenge will not change the past, and says that she was also bullied, and prefers to show her bullies that she's now a happy girl. But Kai continues with his idea of revenge, and before leaving, she gives him a sweet bread. Later, Kai goes to look for one of his bullies at a nearby high school. But when he approaches him, that boy seems scared and doesn't recognize him, which leaves Kai shocked. After that, he eats the sweet bread that Mai gave him, and thinks that she is right, revenge won't change the past. Hours later, Yamato goes to pick Mai up from the bakery, and runs into Kai, and he shocks him by saying that he likes Mai. Days later, Yamato plans to invite Mai to go to Mayako Land as a date. The next day, Asami and Mai talk about their boyfriends, and Kai joins them. Although it deviates to Mayako Land, he is a big fan, and tells them that going with friends is the best, and to have more fun. This is heard by Megumi, who has a new plan to get Yamato. Later, Megumi gives Kai free tickets to go to Mayako Land, and he thanks her. After that, she goes to find his Asami, and although they haven't spoken in a long time, she says that she wants to rekindle their friendship, and purposely tries to avoid Mai. Finally, Megumi looks for Yamato, and tells him that Mai and Kai plan to go to Mayako Land secretly, and as a good friend, she decided to tell him, which leaves Yamato fuffle since Kai likes Mai. Megumi's whole plan is going perfectly, and Momo tells her that she has noticed that she is strange lately. She goes from being angry to happy in minutes, and Megumi asks her to stop bothering her. After class, Yamato is serious, and asks Mai if she has had other boyfriends, or if she talks about things with other boys like Kai, and she is left speechless, and before she can answer, Yamato leaves, leaving her surprised because she doesn't know what just happened. The next day, Megumi continues with her plan to separate Mai from her friends, and invites Asami and Aiko to drink tea, making it clear with her eyes to Mai that she's not invited. Later, Mai walks home alone, and realizes that she hasn't felt so alone in a long time, and just thinking that her friends might abandon her again makes her heart hurt. At that moment, Kai sees her walking alone and sad, and stops to ask her what's wrong, and she can't help but tear up, and he tells her that she can trust him and tell him what she's worried about. They go to the park, and she confesses that she is thinking of separating from her friends before they do it, but he scolds her saying that she is a kind person, and she does not expect kindness from others, and he is sure that she has not seen the big picture, and she should talk to her friends first, and she agrees with him. The next day, she spends time with Yamato, but they don't talk about what happened. Days later, Kai goes to wait for Mai at the bakery. He asks her if she has plans with Yamato, and since that is not the case, he walks her home, and says it seems strange that Yamato doesn't want to spend all the time with her, because he would like to spend all day with his girlfriend, and she asks him if he has someone. Kai is honest, and says that he has a one-side love with a girl. That girl is so special that she made him change his perspective on life with a single sentence, but that girl has a boyfriend, and she realizes that he is talking about her. The next day, Megumi spreads the rumor throughout the school that Kai and Mai were very fond of each other, and he even invited her to go to Mayako Land. Kai realizes that this is all Megumi's doing, and goes to apologize to Mai for what others says about her at school. But at that moment, Yamato sees them together, and angrily asks her what she's doing with Kai, but Kai does not take it well, and yells at him that he did not notice that Mai was sad, and left her alone, while he did notice it, and gave away the tickets to Mayako Land so that she could de-stress. Kai says that Yamato is still the same hypocrite as always, hoping that problems will solve themselves like they did years ago in middle school. Yamato gets angry and tries to hit him, but Kai does it first, and punches him in the face, saying that he does understand Mai because they have both been through hard things, and that is why he knows when she needs a little push to continue. But Yamato won't stay back, and says that he knows that Mai has a hard time sometimes, and that's why he tries to show her all the beautiful things that she has missed in her life, and he won't let him take her away from him. This deflates Kai, who tells him that he has to tell Mai that, and not let her worry like that, and confesses that he likes Mai, but as a person, it is not a romantic feeling as he thinks, and he apologizes for the punch and leaves. Yamato then apologizes to Mai for not realizing that she was lonely, and she apologizes to him for having hurt his feelings without realizing it, and he hugs her, and invites her to Mayako land. The next day, Mai is the first to greet Asami and Aiko, and they are surprised, and Mai confesses that she was afraid of losing them as friends, and Aiko says that she won't get rid of them so easily. At lunchtime, Yamato takes Mai to the roof, and tells her that he already chose a hotel room to go with her, and she blushes. Meanwhile, Kai scolds Megumi for giving Mai a hard time, and she plays dumb, and says that he's worse than her, because he is after a friend's girlfriend, and although that is not true, he asks her if she really likes Yamato. Since she's not direct with him, and only dances around him to trying to get Mai out of the way, he advises her that she should concentrate more on her job. After that, Megumi hears that Asami and Aiko are planning to give Mai and Yamato a gift because they are going to spend their first night together, and that anger Megumi so much that she rudely invites them to a show, but Aiko, who already realized Megumi's fake kindness, tells her that they are not her pets to go where she wants when she wants. So after class, she invites other friends to karaoke, excluding her best friend Momo, but she still attends because another friend invited her. When Megumi sees Momo, she kicks her out of the place, and one of her friends tells Megumi that they all came because she pays, otherwise, they would stay away from her. Later, she goes to a photo shoot, and while waiting for her turn, she reads the comments on social media about her, and unfortunately, there are a few good comments. Most of them are from her school, people who have witnessed her horrible personality. That makes her remember how she was always the despised one of the class in grade school, always left aside for being the tallest or the ugliest. So since middle school, she started wearing makeup to highlight her qualities, but now even that is not enough. At night, she goes to a convenience store, and buys a lot of junk food, and is seen by Kai. At her apartment, she feels sad because she can't believe that her cute image has gone to the trash. The next day, Mai and Yamato meet at the train station, and he is surprised to see her so pretty, which makes her blush. They arrive at Mayako land, and spend the time of their lives, even though the high-altitude attractions scare Mai, but she is happy to be able to experience them with him. After a lot of fun, they stop to eat something, and run into Nagi and Daichi, their older brother. It turns out that Nagi asked him to bring her because she knew Mai would be here, and she wants to spend time with her sister-in-law since Yamato likes to monopolize her. Unfortunately, their love night at hotel room has just been ruined because Nagi decides to stay with them, but Mai is happy because she loves Nagi, and she never thought that someone would want to see her so much as to make a whole plan. Nagi tells her that she already went back to school, and that makes her happy, and the three of them spend the rest of the day having fun. Meanwhile, Megumi is in the depths of her personal abyss, eating junk food in the dark, and refusing to open the door to Momo, the only one who cares about her. Back in Mayako land, Nagi falls asleep in Yamato's arms, and he puts her to sleep in one of the beds in the hotel room. In the end, Yamato and Mai also fall asleep together on the couch. The next morning, Mai wakes up, and he tells her that he wants to take things slow with her, and hugs her waist. Suddenly, Yamato receives a call from the modeling agency, and they tell him that they haven't been able to contact Megumi since yesterday. Yamato runs to Megumi's apartment, and finds Momo outside, as Megumi refuses to open it. The two try to get her to open the door for them, but she says that they are not really interested in her. She was heartbroken thinking that friends in the end only betray you, and Yamato says that he knows someone who thought like that, but now she learned to trust people. While Momo says that it doesn't matter, because now she is cute and pretty and has a good job. It's not necessary to throw everything away for people who don't love her, since there are many people who want to be her friend, and that makes Megumi open her eyes, since it was Momo who taught her how to do makeup, and has been by her side all this time. Then Megumi opens the door, and hugs Momo apologizing. Days later, Megumi goes to her agency, and apologizes for her childish tantrum. But when she goes back to school, she receives bad treatment from all the people she put down before, that she finds kind people who don't let her be bullied too much. After everything that has happened to her, Megumi comes to the conclusion that there is no point in lying or having shallow friendships, since they only hurt you in the end, so she decides to cut her hair to start her life as a renewed Megumi. Weeks later, summer comes, and the summer festival is approaching, and Mai's mother tells her that she should go with her boyfriend this year. After her shift at the bakery, Mai runs to meet her friends since Asami planned a triple date between the groups to enjoy the festival together. Mai and Yamato, Aiko and Masashi, and Asami and Kenji have a good time at the festival. Although Mai wishes she had worn a yukata like the other girls, Yamato assures her that she looks pretty as she is. After eating a lot of things at the festival stalls, Asami is not feeling well, and Kenji takes her home, while Aiko says that her legs can barely support her anymore, so she wants to go home too. When Mai returns home, her mother was waiting for her with a new yukata and makeup, but Mai apologizes because she already went to the festival, and her mother says that she can go again, but this time in a yukata because she knows that she wanted to show her feminine side to Yamato. After putting on the yukata and makeup on her, Mai sends Yamato a text, asking to meet her at the shrine, and she runs to him under the fireworks, remembering her father at the last festival. They were together before he passed away. Unfortunately, the fireworks end before Mai can get to Yamato, but they still find themselves at the shrine, and she apologizes for making him return to the festival for something as trivial as showing him her yukata, but Yamato is speechless. In his eyes, she's the most beautiful girl he has ever seen, and he assures her that seeing her will never be something trivial, and kisses her, and without knowing it at that moment, they both promise to protect each other. The summer passed, and Mai and Yamato lived it to the fullest. On a chilly autumn afternoon, they did not want to separate, and stayed up very late walking. The next day, Yamato misses school because he has a cold, and Nagi rejoices because she can take care of him, since she already gave him completely to Mai, but she would still like to take care of him like a good little sister. At school, Mai is very worried about her boyfriend, so her friends advise her to go to his house to take care of him. So before going to his house, Mai texts Yamato, and he is very happy and wants to see her, but he worries that she will also catch a cold. This is heard by Nagi, who gets angry because she wants to be her brother's nurse today, and calls Mai to tell her that Yamato doesn't want to see her. So Mai is left thinking many reasons why Yamato wouldn't want to see her. For example, yesterday after kissing for a while, she got nervous and shoved him away, then he joked about spending the night together, and she shoved him away again, and finally he thought about going on a winter trip together, but she couldn't stop thinking that they wouldn't have to spend many nights together, so she shoved him away again. She thinks she shoved him away so much that now he is angry with her. Meanwhile, Yamato thinks that Mai must have realized that Nagi is just jealous, but that is not the case. Mai feels a little sad, and fortunately, she receives a call from Asami, who prophesied that Mai would hesitate to go to Yamato's house, so all her friends encourage her, but the one who gets Mai to cheer up is Kai. He tells her that he knows Yamato, and surely he wants to see her. Meanwhile, Nagi confiscated Yamato's cell phone, that he is still waiting for a text or call from her, but the one who calls him is Kakeru, who tells him that he has settled down and fallen in love with a pretty girl who works at the bakery, and now he's going on a date with her, and he just wanted to tell him. That breaks Yamato's mind since the only pretty girl who works at the bakery is Mai, and he doubts that Kakeru has fallen in love with the old lady. Yamato is in despair, thinking about Mai shoving him away yesterday because maybe she thinks he is a pervert, and now she prefers Kakeru. Nagi tries to calm him down, but he can only think about Mai, who coincidentally is out of the house. She can't bring herself to ring her doorbell, and just at that moment, a classmate of Nagi comes to see her, and he brought her flowers. Nagi is so happy to receive this visit that she is distracted for a moment, and Yamato runs away from the house without seeing Mai hiding in a light post. Yamato arrives at the bakery, and sees Kakeru leaving with his date, and he is relieved that the girl is not Mai. Although the old lady baker recognizes him as a model from the magazines, and wants to talk to him. Kai appears and tells him that you should go look for Mai because she thinks he doesn't want to see her. At that moment, Mai calls him, and he answers happily, but his cell phone runs out of battery, and the call is cut off. Mai thinks that Yamato cut off her call, confirming that he is angry with her. Sadly, she goes to the meeting point where they had their first date, and surprisingly, Yamato also runs there. When she sees him, she tearfully hugs him, and he apologizes for Nagi's misunderstandings. After that, they walk together, and he approaches her to kiss her, and she finally whispers to him that she loves him, and that's where the video ends. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this anime. And if you enjoyed watching this video, consider liking and subscribing for more like it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.